Hi everybody and welcome. Today I'm going to introduce you a very interesting company called Pandora. Some of you may be familiar with it, especially those of you who happen to live in the United States. But in a nutshell, what Pandora does is personalized music discovery. Now, let's take a look at the history of Pandora. So Pandora was founded in 2000. It currently has 60 million active users. And the amazing thing is that all of those users come from the United States, the place where Pandora is active. So Pandora isn't active in other countries apart from that. Pandora was also acquired in 2019 by a holding called Sirius XM, which is this kind of like very large broadcasting company for $3.5 billion. What does Pandora do? We could say that it is a glorified internet radio. More on this in a... What does Pandora do? We could say that it is a glorified internet radio. More on this in a while. But before, I want to introduce you to Tim Westergren, who was one of the three co-founders as well as the CEO for quite a long time. I'm only focusing on Tim because I had the chance to actually know him, and I want to tell you a story about that. Now, the three co-founders created not Pandora, but rather a company that was called Savage Beast Technologies. The initial intuition that they had was to put together a kind of like revolutionary thing for the time, which was a database where they would classify music with a bunch of attributes. And the name of this project became Music Genome Project. We'll see way more on this in a while. Now, the basic idea that they had was to leverage the Music Genome Project for creating recommender engines that they would actually sell to other businesses in a kind of B2B fashion. Now, and here comes the story of like my knowledge like with Tim. So they had issues doing this at the beginning of their of like Pandora's life. Well, and so let me tell you this story. So some of you may know that I happened to go to the United States for a while to do an accelerator, an amazing accelerator called Boost VC. This was Silicon Valley, California, and I participated with my co-founders and with my company Melodrive. Now, here you see actually like the space where like you would like present your startup, but also the organizer of this accelerator would host periodically this fireside chats with kind of like prominent entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley. And one of these fireside chats was actually with Tim from Pandora. Now, the interesting thing was that he was like talking about these early days at Pandora, and he was saying that they had issues at the beginning. And then he mentioned something that really shocked me. So there was a time at Pandora that actually lasted for 2 years where Tim convinced all of his employees to work for free without receiving any salary. And I was shocked by that because, I mean, I come from a European background and that is like something completely unacceptable. And indeed, I do believe that's completely unacceptable. But in that context, I don't know, like it wasn't like seen as something like bad, but rather something great, Silicon Valley entrepreneur lifestyle kind of thing. So yeah, so that was like my little like anecdote. But one way or another, it turned out that bet worked out because then what they did was shifting the direction of the company, and they actually launched Pandora, the service that we happen to know like today, in 2005. And so they kind of like moved from the B2B focus towards the B2C, and indeed Pandora is a consumer product. But now let's try to learn a little bit more what Pandora does. So I would say that Pandora, of course, is a music service, but specifically Pandora is a personalized music discovery service. And this is like something quite unique that makes Pandora, I would say, a unique company that's completely different from Deezer or Spotify. Now, how do they achieve this personalized music discovery? Well, they actually leverage the data that they have, or the Music Genome Project. Again, we'll learn more about the Music Genome Project in a second. But before that, let's understand all the different features that Pandora offers to its users. Now, the basic unit, I would say, at Pandora is this concept of a station, which is kind of like a radio station, but the interesting thing is that these stations are customizable by the user. So the user can create these radio stations, adding artists, adding songs, and liking and disliking songs recommended by the algorithm, so that the algorithm learns from all of these interactions and provides better recommendations. Now, of course, Pandora creates stations for artists, songs, and genres in kind of like algorithmic way, leveraging its music discovery engine. Now, starting from 2017, they also have on-demand listening, which is the service that's similar to what you have on Spotify, right? So you can decide to save some music and then listen to it also offline. But I believe this is available only for premium subscribers. And if you want to use Pandora, you can definitely do that for free, but they have this freemium model. If you want more features, then you should pay and become a premium member. But I think like they have a bunch of different plans there. Okay, now you have the main interface that you get with Pandora, and I want to draw your attention to all of these buttons here. So My Station, Crowd Faves, Discovery, and go through this like one by one. So let's start with My Station. Now, My Station is the kind of default discovery process with your station. And so with My Station, what happens is that the music that you're gonna get, the recommendations that you're gonna get, depend on how you've customized the station itself. So the artists that you've added, the songs that you've added, your likes and dislikes. Okay, now moving on to this other discovery mode, which is called Crowd Faves. Now, this is a mix. So it provides you with songs that are in line with your customization of the station, but at the same time, it also provides you with the songs that got the highest number of thumbs up from other users, right? So here you get the most popular songs. In discovery mode, you get music that's based on your customization, as well as artists who usually don't show up on that station. So this is a way of branching out from your musical bubble. Then you have deep cuts. This is an interesting one. And basically here you get the least popular songs by the artists that you've added to your station. And finally, you have artists only. This is a quite conservative recommendation mode, because you get songs that are only by the artists that you've actively added to your station. Now, as you can see here, Pandora offers a bunch of different ways of discovering music. And now what they're trying to optimize is a bunch of different concepts that we use in recommender systems. So some of these are relevance, diversity, and novelty. Now, what are these concepts? Well, I don't want to dig too much into this right now. And let me know, actually, if you want to learn more about music recommender systems, both the theory and the algorithms behind it. Yeah, let me know down in the comments. Now, back to these concepts. In a nutshell, relevance basically means that from a recommender system, I want music that's relevant for me, that's close to what I usually like. And that is like somewhat in contrast with the next concept, which is diversity. A good recommender system should also provide you with diverse music. So music that's not in a single genre or single bubble. But it may well be that depending on the user or depending on a certain situation for the user, that person may want to be like more explorative or more conservative, right? And so what Pandora does with all of those discovery modes is allows you to be more or less explorative, to focus more on relevance of the recommendation or diversity or on novelty. Novelty being getting recommendations that you don't know about and hopefully will be interesting for you. Okay, so these are like the concepts that I think Pandora was trying to model with its interface and backend algorithms to push songs that may be interesting for the user. Now, what are the MIR tasks that they like focus on at Pandora? So, of course, like there's a lot of music information retrieval here at Pandora, but now like the most important things or the most important tasks for them are playlist generation or the continuation of a playlist. So you have this station and you ask yourself, okay, so what's going to be the next song given all the songs that I've had so far in the session, right, in this specific station. And more generally, they are interested in music discovery. Okay, now I think that they do like a very good job. When I was in the States, I was trying out Pandora, and yeah, I was amazed because like this stations work like really, really well, and the interface is great as well. Now, the question that we should ask is that how does like personalized music discovery work at Pandora? Well, it turns out that the focus of the recommendation itself is the Music Genome Project. So it's the intelligent and extremely accurate data that they have on the music that's powering music discovery. Now, let's take a look at a Music Genome Project. So this is a database that captures the essence of music at the most fundamental level. Now, why is it called Music Genome Project? Well, the idea is to recreate something that's similar to the Genome Project, right? With the basic idea that they want to extract the musical DNA of different songs and store it in a database. Now, they have like this concept of genes, right, in the Music Genome Project, and this is like kind of like an analogy with the biological genes. And the basic idea here is that these genes are around 450 attributes that describe different aspects of a song, just like genes describe different aspects of a biological creature, right? Now, here we have a few examples of these genes. So gender of lead vocalist, the level of groove, the level of distortion of an electric guitar. Now, what they do is they assign to each gene a number between 0 and 5. For example, if you have a level of distortion 0, of course, you don't have any distortion in that specific song for the electric guitar. Whereas if you have a level of 5, you have maximum level of distortion. And the basic idea here is to analyze each song and provide its genome and encode its genome. And who's doing this? Well, the analysis is carried out by a team of music experts or musicologists. Right, now let's try to understand how Pandora leverages all of this information for enabling its users to discover music. Well, they have at the core this algorithm, which is a recommender engine. Now, the recommender engine is powered by two big chunks. So one is the Music Genome Project. So information about the content is extremely important for providing interesting recommendations. And so this is one part. And then the other part is the user itself himself or herself in terms of his or her listening behavior or the way users interact with the interface, and then all the feedback that they give in terms of like thumbs up and thumbs down to the recommendation. Now, by mixing up like these two elements, so the content-based element, which is the music, relying on the music genome project, and the behavioral data, they create recommendations, they push recommendations to their users, which are actually good. Now, of course, this is only touching like the surface of a music recommendation problem. Again, if you want to learn more about this, learn more about the research and the implementation, let me know in the comments below. Okay, now let's move on to a completely different topic, which is that of the skills needed to work at Pandora. Now, as you can imagine, Pandora has its own AI music team, specifically music information retrieval team, and people who are like well versed in music discovery and recommendation. Now, from what I gathered, like the most important skills that you should have to work as an AI music engineer at Pandora is knowing Python or Scala or Java, being well versed with databases like SQL, of course, knowing machine learning libraries like scikit-learn, TensorFlow, knowing DSP, and of course being well versed in music information retrieval with a spin on music recommendation. Now, let me show you a job position at Pandora, and this is a position for data scientist, radio and music informatics science. This is the job description for the data scientist role. Now, as you'll see, we are in the job board of SiriusXM, not Pandora. That's because SiriusXM acquired Pandora, as we mentioned at the beginning of this video. Now, as you can see here, so let's go down to the requirements and general skills. So you should have experience designing and building machine learning systems or recommender systems or music information retrieval systems. You should have an understanding of A/B testing, and I think like they have this because they actually evaluate their recommender systems in a live setting directly with their users, trying out like a couple of things and see what works best. You should have demonstrated ability to work well in a small team, so all sorts of like soft skills and excellent communication skills. And in terms of technical skills, yeah, these are the things that I mentioned already. So Python or Scala, SQL, and also be experienced with distributed computed systems like Spark. Okay, so you get the idea. Now that we have a better idea of what Pandora offers and how it works, at least from a very high level perspective, I want to just leave you with a takeaway lesson, which for me is this one, is that quality data makes the difference between success and failure. So having the Music Genome Project was what enabled Pandora to live on, even like in a moment, in a very problematic moment where they didn't know where to go probably, right? But they hold on to their quality data, and then they built a service on top of it that has become super successful, especially in the United States. So quality data is key in general for any AI company, but also specifically for AI music companies. Okay, so this was it for the video. Before dashing off, I want to invite you to the Sound of AI Slack community. So here you'll find a group of people interested in all things music information retrieval, generative music, AI audio, and more, right? So if you want to bounce off ideas or you want to network, I highly suggest you to sign up to the Sound of AI Slack. I'll leave you the sign up link in the description box below. Okay, that's all for today. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time. Cheers.